Thank you guys for tuning in to another POV tutorial. So what we're gonna do here, my client Aiden, you've seen him on my channel before. He used to get like a low taper, but he got a little undercut last time. So the request that he's giving me now, he wants to go ahead and do like a nice little mid fade all the way throughout there. He does not want to have the corners on the haircut. So it's gonna be nice, man. I'll walk you guys through that tutorial. Of course, we're gonna be using the Tomb 45 set. We've got the clipper, we've got the trimmer, that new wireless charging one that we just released. So yeah, if you want those tools, the link's in the bio. I've got discount codes in the bio. Yeah, I'm gonna walk you guys through this, so let's get into it. So you guys can see, man, we have a lot of hair that we're gonna be working with today. If you have a client that wants to try this style, I'm just gonna show you guys pretty much how to color within the lines, right? Like the parting is already there. How do we keep that fade in that area? The right amount of contrast, but still nice and tight at the bottom. So I'll show you guys all that right now. So if I pick up whatever I can in a bun right now, that's pretty much just gonna make it a little easier to manage, right? To where I don't have so much extra hair. Use these grips to hold that part nice and tight. It's just gonna make it a little easier to manage here. Okay, that right there, cool. So you can already see that's nice, clean. Now since this hair back here is gonna be a little more stubborn, this is where I'm gonna use some clips because this hair needs more control. So I'm gonna use a tool that gives me a little more precision. Like I'm gonna use one more clip for this little section here. So now, just for all these loose hairs. All right, put your head all the way down now, cool. So we can see a nice clean parting here all the way. And same thing here. Okay, so now what the mission is gonna be. Now that we have taken care of that, you know, that's the thing, separating the hair and lifting up the long hair in a hairstyle like this is probably one of the most challenging but also most crucial pieces to having a hairstyle like this and just successfully completing this cut. So now on this clipper, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at this 1.5 guard here. We can, you know, we're gonna start with this lever right about halfway closed. I might even go all the way closed. I just want to make sure that I watch very closely. Remember, the moving teeth is where the hair is cut. So if I keep that in mind as I run this clipper right up to that part, it's going to make sure that everything is trimmed even and that I'm not digging into the top hair. I'll show you guys something too. I can use an even finer comb just to make sure that we don't lose any control. You gotta take your time with this part, guys. So I used to think that it really wasn't that important to have like a variety of combs and tools and stuff at your station. I found that with that package that Barber sent me when I got this clipper here, you know, I found actual pretty good use in this tool. Right here, you know, a much more fine, so you can see I accidentally picked up a little hair there, but that's okay because that area is already trimmed. Pinch that right there. For this area too, I definitely don't mind going with the grain with a tighter guard. Like right now I got the half on it, especially since his hair changes growth directions there. That can make this section a little bit easier to deal with. All right, cool. So the trim is looking nice and tight. Remember, I don't want to worry about any of this yet. Now, or at least when I'm debulking this area, I don't care about debulking this. Now we're gonna start working this fade. So he wants like a mid fade, but he doesn't want the corners. So this is gonna be like a blend between a mid and a high, right? So I'm gonna take that, per that request, I'm gonna take that right up to this corner right here. Sorry if that was out of frame, guys. I was just explaining that since he wants a mid fade here with no corner, I'm gonna take that right up to the corner, right there where his C cup would start. He doesn't want no C cups. Put your head down just a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this all the way around here. Mid fade, no corners. So I'm gonna let this thing run right up to the corner right there, because we're gonna blow through that C cup. Now I started with the clipper all the way closed because it's like a way softer line for us to fade out. You know, if I can punch that in, I technically can punch that in with the clipper, I'm sorry, with the trimmer, right? But I think I'd just be giving myself more work to do. I think I'm just giving myself more work to do. Look, before we start fading, I'm gonna clip those spare hairs up. So now we're gonna give ourselves some space here to fade. All right, so we got this half guard. I just wanna make sure that I give myself enough space to blend out here, man. Like, I feel like you'll see at the end of the cut why going in with a half guard is a pretty good idea, and why it gives me the space and the blend that I need. I like to spread this out a good bit too. You can see, even though this is like a mid fade and I don't have like a crazy amount of space to fade, I'm still giving myself as much room as possible. This part of the fade definitely has to be spread, because if it's not, then as soon as he gets up, he's gonna start looking like, it's gonna look like really, really too tight. It's gonna look like he's got a line going all the way around his head. And that's the opposite of what we want. The whole purpose of a fade is to fade all these in, right? So they can mesh and blend all together. All right, so. So we've got the bristle brush here in my hand now, guys. So, and the reason that I'm gonna switch to the bristle brush is so that way, while we're blending, while we're fading, we just got to make sure that we get all the debris off of his scalp. And when I got this clipper all the way open, I'm making sure, I'm being very careful to not actually like break through that guideline that I put in with the zero guard, with the half guard. So every time we go lower and lower, we are just working with like lengthwise. Like here, I got my lever down halfway. We're working our way slightly lower through that fade. So look, every time that we notch our way lower and lower in the lever, we are putting our way lower and lower through the fade. Now we're all the way down to the clipper all the way closed. And you'll remember we started this fade here with the clipper all the way closed. So those lines are gonna match up real nice. Okay, same thing here. And remember too, guys, like if your client is getting an undercut kind of early on, kind of like how my client is here, the reason that we had to go through the extra steps to clip the hair in the back is because his hair is not long enough necessarily yet to put the whole thing in a bun, right? Like it was really only long enough for the front little portion too, but we decided to do the undercut just a little bit early, right? So that way he could kind of wear the headband or you know, have that type of thing where he just was really sick of having curls all around his ear, like cover up his ear. Like it would tickle him. It would just like bug the crap out of him. So we decided to do the undercut. He rocks the hair kind of like loose anyway and curly, and just wears like the headband up in the front. So it actually works out really good, real perfect for his style. Eventually he will be able to braid it up and wear it in the man bun and everything. But in the meantime, during that grow out phase, you know, we have to be just very careful and precise while cutting all back here to make sure that we don't ruin the process, so he doesn't end up just with like a high top undercut. So now y'all can see we trusted the system to take care of that bottom fade. Now this is a 1.5. This is a half. What can we use in between that to go ahead and start blending it out? You know, I'm going to start using this 1, right? If we use that 1 with the lever open now, and we're not going to go all the way up. We're not going to go all the way up to match what we did with the 1.5 guard, but we're going to get pretty close to it, right? And we're going to be stacking these different lengths here. So we're just going to put your head down a little bit. We're just going to attack and break through that line that we set in with the half first. So then here's the concept, guys. We're going to start with this 1 open. Now we take it down 1 halfway. I see like a little line there. I'm gonna do a little bit of corner work just to make sure that we get that faded out. I like to address certain things like that, you know, as I see them. All right, so now we're all the way back down here to the 1 closed, and we're not going as high as we were before, right? We're pretty much just breaking through that line that we made with the half. We're gonna see how faded we can get this thing. We're gonna do as much work as possible with this 1 guard. You can see it's starting to get a little blurry, and it's not gonna be much longer before we just have to knock out the final couple dark spots with that half guard. And then, man, he'll be ready for a lineup. He'll be good to go. So if you've been watching my last couple videos, man, leave your comments below. Does it make sense that, you know, the concept of memorize the process but not the steps, right? We are working with colors together, man. We are creating art with an eraser. We're doing what we need to blend the dark top and lightly shade it into the light bald bottom, right? We're just like taking care of that bottom fade, establishing how we want the bottom light part of the fade to look like. Put your head down a little bit. And we're using these guards, we're using this clipper as the eraser to slowly soften that shade. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of interesting. I mean, I had, you know, I took some like art classes and stuff in high school. That's the kind of electives I was picking up when I was in school. So I feel like I really do apply that, you know, when it comes to barbering, man. I used to love drawing. I used to love sketching and, you know, all that kind of stuff, man. It was, you know, when I was a kid in church, like I would spend half my time drawing hairlines and beards on the people, you know, in the pamphlets and stuff like that. So it's something really interesting, man. I feel like I've always wanted to do this and look at it through the lens of an artist. We're just going to detail a little bit more. I mean, like, to your average person, so your average person in the public, this is going to look pretty much finished. But they come to a barber, not to a cosmetology style, you know, like a Great Clips, Super Cuts. They're not going there to get cosmetology style fades, man. They want the details that a barber's going to give them. So let's just keep chipping away at this. We'll do some lever play here with this half guard. And this should take care of it all, pretty much, you know, at this point. I put that bottom line in with the half guard closed. So if we're playing here with the half guard, lever open, lever halfway, lever closed, that should be able to blur it all out, man. But let's see how it does. If I'm able to fade this all out with just a half guard, then that'll tell you guys about my, you know, you'll be able to judge me on how I did with me through this cut. Right? Because you remember in that first step of fading, my goal was to blend out bald to half without disturbing the half line that I put in. Naturally, it's going to be darker and more concentrated back here because the hair grain grows thicker, it grows closer together back here, the density is more. Fun fact, I don't know if you guys knew, this is why when you when you guys get a hair transplant, they always pull the hair from the back of the head, because this hair is what never ever goes away. Whenever you see guys going bald, they always lose their hair on top, never lose their hair on the back of the head. So that's why it's important to wait until, you know, like your balding is fully matured before you get a hair transplant, because, you know, once they plant that hair in, it's never going to fall out, assuming your body accepts it. But that's also why us as barbers have to take extra time detailing the back, because the hair density just grows crazy back here. I think overall we're looking pretty good, man. We're just gonna fine tune a little bit. I am gonna have to take my guard off just to knock out a couple spots here. Let's knock out a couple spots here, do a little bit of detailing, and then we can jump right into the lineup and the balding out phase too. You know, once we start balding out the cut, you guys are really gonna be able to see why it's so important that we started off with the clipper all the way close. There shouldn't be any hard lines in here if I did my job right. Okay, everybody got to take potty breaks. You said that was a Red Bull that did it to you? I told him just let me get to the lineup. So we're good. All right, look, so I already put a little bit of 245 pencil here on my glove here, man, so we can go ahead and attack this lineup. So here's what we're looking like, guys. We're just gonna apply a little bit here. I just like using this method because it can apply a very subtle, very light and slim application of the pencil, you know, pretty much at the same time that the lineup is happening. So instead of having to take time to draw as one step, line up as another step, and spread the pencil with the blade as a third step, kind of meshes all these into one. And in my opinion, it kind of makes the hair just stand out a little bit more. It makes the hairline stand out a little bit more, so I could easily visualize what I want his edge to look like. You know, whatever the excess is, we could remove at the end. But it's not only an enhancement tool for me, guys. Like, it really is also like a visual aid almost. Some may disagree, and that's okay. Some also may say this is a pushback. But the only way that this is going to be anywhere near symmetrical and square is if you even it out. You know, his hairline grows in a rainbow, but he likes that squared up shape. So in this case, you can either tell your client, all right, I'm gonna line you up all the way down here so we can keep that edge there, you know, and color in his whole forehead. Or you can just remove the round edges, the round, you know, that the whatever's disrupting his corner. So that's something interesting, guys. You know, finding that balance, right? So I'm happy with this side, so I'm going to slide over to the other. Now we're just like at the finishing phase here of this haircut. And since we started this fade here at the very bottom with the clipper all the way closed, now we could take these trimmers here. Remember, if I would have set this line in with the trimmers, it would have been a little more difficult to fade this line out. But I started here with the clipper, so this trimmer length is gonna blend flawlessly right up into that. So let's go ahead and take our time. Bald out the very bottom, follow up with the shaver. So I think you gotta find that like sweet spot with your trimmer where it can give you a crispy line, but at the same time, you know, when you're balding out, for example, and you gotta hit different directions, like you could flip it over and also run it real quick here on the neckline, so where you're not gonna be irritating or cutting or, you know, burning up skin. So that's something interesting, right? I don't like to have a hitter on my station and a kid's trimmer and a balding trimmer. Nah, man, real simple. One trimmer, one clipper, one trimmer. I do still believe in that thoroughly. Let's go ahead and follow up with the shaver now so we can give the fade some longevity. So yeah, guys, before we enhance it and do all the extra stuff, now that the balding out has completed and the lineup is done, we got the frame on the picture. Now we can kind of like point out and see a couple of the extra flaws, right? So now this is just the final detailing. This is just the final fine tuning. Gotta take your time with these kind of cuts, guys. Like, your clients literally are walking billboards, you know? Your clients generate more referrals, and it just generates the growth of your business. It's a lot of stuff we talk about in the mentorship, man, the 6-figure barber mentorship.